Hello! Welcome to today's Friday Facebook session. Simon Dalley showing us a big close-up of your Neanderthal forehead again there. Say hello. Oh, he's gone. There we go. Say hello, Chloe.
Gone. Hi.
Who are you?
I'm Chloe from Growtraffic.
Chloe,
the youngest and funniest member.
Yes. I'd like to deny that, but that's all true. Simon Dalley, who are you?
Hello!
Hello!
Sorry, I missed the first bit. Where are we up to?
Who are you?
Oh, Simon Dalley from Growtraffic, one of the directors here.
Marvellous. And I, of course, I'm Rachel Weinhold, also from Growtraffic. Have to bear with me today because I've had germs, potentially COVID, potentially just lurgy, but whatever it is, my brain is not working. So Hannah was supposed to be doing today, but Hannah's had to go sort out a family emergency. So we've got one or maybe two brainless idiots on the call instead, and then Chloe. So today we are talking about the 5 top SEO tips. Now, this is the all new, all singing, all dancing, for fuck's sake. So we are no longer doing a full hour of chit chat. Instead, we are going to do half an hour rapid fire, super duper useful tips for people instead. So what do we think? Is this going to work?
No.
What's the betting? What's the betting that we managed to stick to 30 minutes?
I can already feel that this is going to be a 40-minute piece.
Do you reckon?
I reckon.
Well, for one thing, we must remember Chloe's got a bit
don't
of a
let
delay
Dalley
on
go off on his ridiculously technical. Yeah. Just don't let Dalley go off on his ridiculously technical spiels
Hold me back, guys.
that even we don't understand.
Hold me back.
No, nobody understands. No. Right. Okay, so let's get cracking. First of all, very, very quickly, for those who don't know, what is SEO? Simon Dalley, what is SEO?
What is SEO? It is the process of improving your rankings in Google for your web presence in order to generate more traffic back to your website or back to any element of your web presence, in order to then potentially convert customers, the traffic into customers, or to achieve another marketing objective.
Right. Okay. Chloe, what's SEO to you?
In the very simplest terms, which is how I usually describe it, it's helping a business's website be found on Google. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
If you're not on Google, not on the first few pages, you're not getting found.
Well, that's exactly it, actually, because 95% of people now, and that's the statistic from pre-COVID, so that's probably gone up, but 95% of people now will look or at least research a local business before they engage that business or service. The way we are buying things and finding businesses has changed completely. So, if you are not, as Chloe says, if you are not turning up on page 1, and realistically, if you're not coming up in those top 3 search results, you are not getting found. And there are, for every business, no matter how unique your business is, there is somebody else offering something similar to what you do, and they will be the ones being found. So if if you're not there, I mean, just for example, one of our clients, they do power of attorney. Now, 60,500 people in Lancashire searched power of attorney last month. Now, that's 60,500 potential customers that could be finding them. If your website is not appearing in the top 3 pack for those search terms, those people are going somewhere else and they are spending their money with somebody else and not with you. So, it is important. So SEO is search engine optimization. It is doing whatever is required to get your website to appear in those top 3 search results. So we have top 5 tips here for people today. I am going to go to top tip number 1, use keywords. So Chloe, what are keywords?
Keywords are the common terms and phrases that people will search for when looking for your product or service. And your website needs these keywords in tons of different places in order to be found by those people. So for Growtraffic, for example, it could be digital marketing services or SEO services or content writing, those kind of stuff, all that jazz.
Yeah, exactly that. It is all that jazz, all that jazz. It is literally, you know, people get confused about keywords and get worked up, you know, well, what is a keyword? Well, it's just a phrase, it's a word. It could be 1 word, 2 words, 3 words. You can even have what we call long-term keywords, or, you know, really niche keywords that are several words long, but it is just a term that somebody is going to use to search for your products or services. Simon Dalley, what do you think about keywords?
I mean, they're really important, aren't they? And it's important to have a good understanding of the language and the language that people use when they're looking in search engines, and how search engines then kind of pick out the combinations of keywords on pages in order to rank content. Actually, 2 days ago, a couple of days ago, a client of ours sent through they're a big company. They've got a marketing team in their own rights, and they sent through a page of copy, and it was about, I think the title of the page was enforcement. And when you read it, really well written piece, but you started to realise that the word enforcement had only been coupled with the subject once in the whole of the page. So there was very few clues for Google to actually work out what the page should be ranking for, even though it was, you know, it was a perfectly great it was a really good piece of copy actually. But, you know, just by sitting back and thinking, how do I combine like the topic or or the service, should I say, with the topic that I'm covering, then you've got all those additional keyword opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important to remember that whilst algorithms are incredibly complex and incredibly clever, intelligent things, at the heart of them, that they are, you know, they are as simple as they are complex, and they only have a few rudimentary ways of understanding what a page of content is about or who it's aimed at. If we're not being explicit and saying, this is what I'm talking about, this is the key, you don't have to stuff it, you don't have to have it in every single sentence like we used to do kind of 6, 7, 8 years ago, but you do have to make it clear what you're talking about in that piece. I think it's really important as well, isn't it, that people think about their keywords from their customer's point of view, not from their point of view. Yeah. Have either of you seen any kind of examples of that or anything?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, that's the first thing that you want to do is sense check whether you're talking about, whether you're using industry language or whether you're using the language that your customers be using. Because everything that you do from a marketing perspective should always start with the customer. You know, that's absolutely fundamental. If you don't have a deep understanding of who the customer is, you know, the language they use, where they search, all the rest of it, then you're not gonna get it right even from the beginning.
It's also important to think about how
yeah, go on, Chloe.
To think about how the customer is asking the question, because in the age of 2020, so many people are using voice search now through the Alexas and the Siris and the Google Home or whatever it's called, and they're asking questions like, for example, pre-COVID, it might have been like days out for the family near me, or Alexa, where can I take the kids? You know, stuff like that. And you've got to think about voice search because it is becoming so much more popular than it was a few years ago. So it's not only writing content with those keywords, it's writing content and thinking about how that customer is going to be asking the search engine.
Absolutely. I mean, anyone who has done my better blogging course, or our better blogging course, I should say, will know that, you know, it's the one phrase I say repeatedly: you ask and you answer the questions that people are asking. That is what you do with your website, whether it be a web page, a blog post, a landing page, even, you know, any piece of content that you put out there. Are you asking and answering the questions that your customers are asking? And your keywords should be, where possible, those types of questions. And I mean, it's as simple as, like, for us, for example, with Growtraffic, we call blog writing as an industry term, that's called SEO copywriting. But your average person, your average business owner, is not going to search for, where can I find an SEO copywriter? They're going to search for, you know, who can I get to write a blog, or where can I find a blog writer? So it's really, you know, put yourself in the shoes of your customer and think about your keywords from that point. And you can do a little bit of research, you know, a bit of Googling will give you some keyword analysis, so you can figure out, because Google will tell you this info, you know, if you put something in, it will tell you underneath, people also call this, or people are also searching for. Use that information that it gives you. It's quite simple. Okay, I'm moving us on. So that's top tip 1, keywords. Get some keywords into your website, think about them logically, and make sure you're consistent. Your keyword, if you're using kind of if you're optimizing your pages, your keyword should be in 5 places. So it should be in your H1, your main heading. It should be in the first paragraph of the text of your on front end content. It should be in your meta description. It should be specified as the keyword, and it should be in your tags. There are a couple of other places, but at the very least, get your keyword into those 5 places, and you're making a start. So number 2, top tip number 2. Page titles and meta descriptions. So first of all, Chloe, what is a meta description?
I'm going to let Dalley take this one, because I feel like he'll give a better explanation than I will.
I don't think he will. He'll give a more technically correct one. But go on then, Dalley. Tell us both then. What are page titles and what are meta descriptions?
Meta description is an HTML tag. Is a HTML meta tag that sits in the code of the website. You can't see it on the front end of the website, but traditionally, it fills a snippet in Google. So in the search results, a bit of content, a bit of copy is the meta description. It has no impact on, it has no direct impact on the ranking of a page. However, it has the potential for increasing click-through rates from the search results, which can help you to increase your rankings. So it's important to get your keywords in there early. When they're featured in there, they'll be highlighted in bold in the search results. The page title, similarly, is a tag that's in the back end of the website, but it's if you hover over the tab on your browser and just leave it there for a second, the kind of tooltip that pops up is the page title of your page, and that is, even now, is probably the most important on-page element of any website. That's where you've got to get your keyword, the right keywords in that place.
So the way I always explain this when I'm doing training to people is that you've got to think of Google and search engines generally as the world's biggest filing cabinet. So that's essentially what they are. And they are getting millions and millions and millions of pages uploaded to them every minute of every day. And if all you are doing is uploading a homepage, an about us page, a contact page, September's blog post, you know, my musings this month, Google has no frigging idea what the hell that is. It's got no idea what you're talking about. So you've got to label your file correctly before you put it up there. And that's essentially what a page title is, isn't it? It's putting a logical label on it to say, this is what this page of content is about.
Yeah, that's a really good way of thinking about it.
Okay, well, Chloe, when you're writing a meta description, what's the kind of general thing that, if you were advising people to write a good meta description, how would you do it?
It's Chloe throws.
Did it just me?
No, there is. Yeah, you, yeah.
Okay. So I tend to go down the route of, I usually do it short and quite punchy. I often put a question in first. So if someone searched for, you know, digital marketing and or blog writing in Rosendale, I'll say, you know, are you looking for a professional blog writer or something like that? And then I'll answer it with, you know, whatever the page is about, and make sure the keyword's in there. But I usually try and keep the keyword in there only once. I don't like to stuff the meta description with the keyword because I think it looks quite almost like desperate.
And that's it, yeah.
Bit messy.
I think the other thing as well with meta descriptions is that they're constantly changing the kind of word count and what they want from it. But there's sort of two key things to remember. As Dalley said, it's what tells a search engine that this is what this page of content is about. But it will also appear on the search results. Also, if you're sharing it onto Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, that's the bit of information that will show. So it does show to people as well as to search engines. So that's the best way of doing it, Chloe, you're right, is ask a question. Who are you talking to? What do you want them to do? So are you looking for 5 top free tips about SEO? If so, read this blog post. This is what we're going to tell you. So yeah, short and punchy, keep the keyword in there.
I think as well, so Google has for a long time selected the copy that it includes in the snippet on the SERPs. However, you know, it likes to it defaults to the meta description, so it's a good test to see, are you writing good meta descriptions if Google includes them. If Google doesn't include them, then that's a good point to improve them. You know, if it's pulling copy from other places on the page. And Google doesn't change the number of character limits that displays. It changes the pixel width on the page on the SERPs, and that affects how many words appear in those results. It's roughly about 160 characters. I always put a full stop around 160 characters because sometimes it can just drop anything after that. So that's a tip.
Okay, yeah. All right, but yes, we're going into the realms of far too technical again, Simon Dalley, and time is marching away from us. So shut up about pixels. Most people don't give a shit.
No, but it's characters. So 160 characters.
Okay.
Like that.
Crikey bobbles, Simon Dalley. I think you need to switch over to hotspot because at the moment you look like Henri Matisse painting. Oh, he's back. There we go. Right, we're going to crack on. So
should be fine. No.
Okay, oh, right, okay. So top tip number 1 is keywords. Top tip number 2 is title, have a page title and have a meta description. Top tip number 3, optimize your on-page content. What does this mean? Anybody got any clue? Simon Dalley, what would optimize, and a non-technical answer here, please. What do people need to do to optimize their on-page content?
Incorporate keywords into the body text, into the alt tags of images, the file names of images, and in the anchor text of any HTML links, hyperlinks. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Chloe, when you're uploading blog posts, what do you do to optimize the on-page content?
Well, I add the keywords where they're needed, as Dalley said, but I also optimize for the user. So for the person who's reading it, I try as much as possible to keep it so I'm talking to a human being rather than a search engine. So yeah, especially blog posts where they're a lot more casual, I write as if I'm talking to a friend sometimes. And yeah, I optimize it. I try and keep it short paragraphs, short sentences, super easy to read. I get headings in there to break it all up. I use Yoast a lot of the time, which is, well, it's a tool that most of us use at Growtraffic. I know Dalley's not the biggest fan of Yoast, but it is great if you're, trying to figure out optimization, because it will give you little tips on how to improve the SEO of a page.
Yeah, I suppose that's the other thing about you did pick up on this, Chloe, just using the H tags, the heading tags in a hierarchical manner so that you're creating a silo on the page.
Do you want to put that in English for people that are not SEO?
Let's see. So when your H1 tag would be your most generic kind of tag to that topic, and then your H2 tag would be more specific. You can have multiple H2 tags, and then under each H2 tag, for example, you would have an H3 tag, which became more granular within that topic.
Okay, so no. So what it means is you have one H1 on each page. That's your main heading. You then have a couple of subheadings. Preferably, your subheadings should also be questions. Again, back to that, ask and answer the questions that your customers are asking. So have a couple of subheadings that are variations, and they should be your H2s. And then you should always finish with a call to action. So you should never let a reader get to the bottom of a page and there not be some sort of call to action. What do you want them to do next? Where do you want them to go? Is there another blog post that you want them to read? Do you want them to follow you on Facebook or follow you on Twitter or sign up to your email newsletter or fill out the contact form or pick up the phone or buy this product now? There should always be a call to action at the bottom. And as Chloe said, yeah, optimize it for humans. If you can keep a human reading to the end, that's the goal.
I disagree with your advice.
Go on, Dalley.
I disagree with your advice on H2 tags and the H tags. I don't think they should always be questions. They should be questions in the right places, but there are, especially in kind of services pages, they shouldn't be questions.
Oh yeah, well, I didn't say they should be questions. I said if you can make them a question, have some of them as questions. But anyway, we're getting far off. So top tip number 1, have some keywords. Top tip number 2, have page titles and meta descriptions. Top tip number 3, optimize your page content for humans and search engines. Top tip number 4, speed. Why is speed important now, Dalley?
So the website's got the internet has got faster. People's expectations of what the internet will do, is increasing. Speed is an incredibly important factor. People won't wait for your page to load, and it doesn't provide a great user experience when your page takes forever to load. And Google's caught up with this, so Google's incorporating speed kind of factors within their algorithm. I think I know what you're getting at. I think you're asking in part about, I mean, obviously speed's been important since.
I'm trying to lead you into algorithm updates. I'm asking you leading questions like Ipsos Mori.
I know, you are. I'm just trying to get it in order. So speed was obviously important before Google moved to mobile web. So speed became a ranking factor back then, but we are moving to an era where page experience is a ranking factor as well. It's going to come in May. The new page experience factors are called, and speed is an easy way of thinking about it. It's about how fast the page loads. There's some very specific ways in which the page needs to load fast. However, it's a good way of thinking about it. Yeah. So the faster your page is, the better the user experience is for your visitor, and therefore Google will reward you by ranking you higher.
And what can people do on some really kind of quick wins that people can do to speed up page load time?
The most important thing that you can do is put it on the right server. That's first and foremost. Put it on the right server. Have it as close to the access points of the internet in the UK as possible. For example, if you're in the UK.
So don't pay for cheap and cheerful hosting. You get what you pay for.
You do get what you pay for. You can also be overcharged with hosting as well. You do certainly get what you pay for. But even when you're paying a lot, make sure you understand.
It's more like and what about compressing images?
Yeah, so
there are some.
Well, I mean,
to do that,
I mean, there's everything you need to do. You can compress images. You can have images on a CDN. You could have compress all the files within the website. You should be minifying all the code in the website, which basically means taking out all the spaces. You will want to be looking at caching. Caching is a really important thing that needs to be done on every website, and caching is done in multiple places. But what caching means is that you create a copy of the website which is housed either certain bits of your website are housed within the browser, or the server caches them. Even the kind of switches around the internet will cache things. So caching is really important
Okay.
to speak.
Okay, but so there are some basic things that normal people can do. There are some plugins that will help speed up your website. If you know that your website is loading really slow, speak to your web company, because they will be able to either get you on some better hosting or do some things, technical things that will help speed it up.
Most business owners, it's just not worth doing.
Yeah.
Get somebody else to do it.
But as a but as a business owner, it is something you need to think about. It's a conversation you should be having. Yeah, so top 5 tips. Tip number 1, keywords. Tip number 2, page titles and meta descriptions. Tip number 3, optimize your on-page content. Tip number 4, speed up your website as much as you possibly can. And tip number 5, Chloe's favorite thing, backlinks. Build those backlinks. So Chloe, tell us, what are backlinks?
Oh, backlinks, the bane of my bastard life. That's what they are. No, backlinks. Great for a website. Amazing. Backlinks are when another website links back to yours. As basic as that. And you get backlinks organically by having really good content on your website. So if you write blogs, regular blogs, and you position yourself as an expert in that topic or in that industry, you will eventually, if you keep doing it, you keep building it up, you'll eventually find people linking back to your blogs because they're just so amazing. And you can also build backlinks by reaching out to websites or companies or friends even and asking to guest blog for them. So write a blog for them. And make sure you read your emails before you do so, because typos when asking for something can make your life hell, as I found out last week.
Yeah, Chloe, tell us about your backlink typos.
I accidentally joined the KKK. I think that's the best way to describe it. We call Growtraffic a white hat SEO agency because we are ethical and we do things the right way. We're not black hat, we're not naughty. So instead of writing a white hat SEO agency in this email that I sent out to hundreds of people, I accidentally typed a white hate SEO agency. And that email went far and wide.
And
you live and you learn.
Was it someone from New Zealand who contacted you to say, like, why
Perth
you're white
in Australia? Yeah, Perth in Australia. She said it made her laugh. So, if anything, it could have been worse, I suppose.
Typos can be everywhere.
But yeah, guest blog and write good content.
Absolutely. 2 top tips. Simon Dalley, anything to add about backlinks?
Yeah. So obviously, backlinks are the kind of currency of Google. If you like, that's what made Google different in the first place. It's what made Google's search engine become popular. That they introduced a ranking factor outside of what was just happening on the page. I think as SEOs in the SEO industry, we often talk about backlinks, and really, what we should be moving towards is talking about promoting ourselves, promoting the business, because actually it's not just about backlinks. It's about backlinks are an important factor, but they're not everything. The link graph isn't everything. Brand mentions are important. Personal name mentions are important. All these things contribute towards your website's ranking, and ultimately, it's about promoting yourself. It's really simple. It's really simple marketing stuff. It's about how do we promote ourselves more, and every business should be thinking about doing that. We shouldn't just be thinking, let's get a website live and it will rank because it's optimized. That optimizing a website, putting everything in the right place on a page, it's just a start.
I always say that's getting your website tick box ready, and that, like you say, that's just phase one, isn't it? After, once you've got that kind of tick box stuff done, you've got your optimizations done, you've got your keywords in there. It is then about promoting it, and that's about creating that content. And this is why some people don't even call it backlink building. Some people call it online PR, or even PR outreach. You know, there's different names for it, and it is about getting those articles placed in other websites, from other publications about your business, publish other people's content and links out from them. It's about building that online reputation, isn't it? And as you say, that comes in lots.
It's promotion, isn't it? I think that,
yeah,
you know, it doesn't have to be, we sometimes think about articles. I know John Mueller said from Google, said just this week that they are actively devaluing links from guest posts. So there are so many different ways you can gain links and mentions from the kind of I think like we're in all the business networking groups that we're in. We have a page on their website. Some of them have links, some of them don't. You know, we all have social media profiles that all have links back to us. You know, we all share content from us. It's all that is contributing towards that link graph and helping to, or just that. But link graphs, that's an old-fashioned word. You know, it's more about connections. It's about the connections online that help Google recognize you.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so build those backlinks, but you know, don't even think of it in those terms. Just get some PR on the go and get yourself promoted. That's it. We're out of time. We've only gone 2 minutes over, guys. We might have gone more by the time we finish.
Before we go, have we done it? The other thing that I think is really important for a lot of local businesses, and it's underutilized by local businesses, is Google My Business. It's a really important part of your kind of optimization. And so tip number 6 is get your Google My Business profile set up, and don't just leave it. Use the post functionality on there, and whenever you write a blog, add it to Google My Business. Use it as one of your social media channels to promote the content.
I did a webinar for the SEO Optimists yesterday on teaching people how to use Google My Business. So
got that in there,
yes,
didn't you?
Yeah, well, it's there you go. I've got to either mention the garage or the SEO Optimist on every one. So you know, I've got SEO Optimist,
and you've just done both.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the top 5 tips. So rundown, very quick, before Simon Dalley comes in with anything else.
Top 6.
Shush. Top 5 tips. Number 1. Think logically about your keywords. Use keywords that your audience are going to be searching for.
And get them. Talk about in keywords. I've just got a point. Keywords. We didn't talk about semantics and how.
No, Simon Dalley, we're going to come back to all of these future episodes. We have to stick to half an hour, else Hannah is going to whip us all. We cannot go on for 45 minutes.
We don't have to stick for half an hour. We make the rules. It's fine.
No. Right, so number 1, keyword.
Should we wrap this up now?
Logically. You're going to get banned. Shut up. Point number 2, page titles. Make sure you give everything a proper page title, a logical page title before you upload it. Meta descriptions. Make sure you've got some good meta descriptions in there. Number 3, optimize your on-page content for human beings, not for algorithms.
Human beings?
Human beings. Number 4, get your website and your pages loading as quickly as you possibly can. And number 5, get some online PR done and build some backlinks. And of course, Simon Dalley's tip number 6, get on Google My Business. We will be coming back to, if you're local, well, everyone's a local business. We will be coming back to all of these points in future FFS episodes. So that's it. We've done it in 35 minutes. Well done, guys.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? I feel like we should.
No, there absolutely isn't. No, that's it. See you next week. Bye.